There we go.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Good.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's like an honor to be on your call. I think you're super cool. And when we hung out with you that day, Joe still talks about it. Well, Ryan says that when Joan does this, I'm like, I know, we're the same. We're crazy business, loving this business, and it's so fun. He's like, well, now that you're qualifying again, I'm going to leave you alone. Because that's what Ryan says he does to Joan, is to help her. And we also started using that grocery shopping list share thing. So you've changed my life in more ways than you know.
Wunderlist is wonderful.
Yes, you don't even have to talk anymore. It's great.
You don't.
Eggs, don't even have to tell you about it. So thank you for Wunderlist. But that day was so great, and I totally fell in love with you. So I was honored to be asked to be on this call, and I'd love to hang out with you. Yeah, so my background is I came in on this off of a business opportunity presentation. So as scary as those are for you guys, like, put that business opportunity out there and just go for it. I was terrified to do it in the beginning, but I remember that that's how I came in, because I see this as such a cool business. But in saying that, I came in off the business opportunity, and when I saw this, I was like, oh, I could totally do this with my friends. It's going to be so great. We're going to run challenges. We're going to help so many people. We're going to change lives. I'm going to quit my job. It's going to be fabulous. And when I started asking people once I signed up, I was shocked at how many people were saying no to me. I must have got 200 no's. I'm like, how can you not want to do this? It's the most incredible thing. And something I learned really fast is that I wasn't speaking their language. I was kind of just telling them what I loved and why I loved it and what I wanted them to do, because that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And once I kind of revamped how I was going about this, it changed my whole business. I started talking to people with a few things in mind, more so about them, like what could change for them. Are they going to be helped by Shakeology? Do I know they might have a few pounds to lose? Do I know they're low energy? Or do I know they might want to make some money? Or what is more so about them opposed to what I love about this business? And I was kind of throwing everything at them. So it took me a little bit to learn that in this business. And I definitely failed way fast when I started, just like you all might be, because it's hard when you start. But then it gets so incredible once you start learning little things that work, what works and what doesn't work. It's all trials and tribulations. So yeah, that was October of 2013 that I came in, and I became Emerald my first month because I got my mom and my brother-in-law basically to feel bad for me and finally say yes, because I was begging them. But I did truly want my mom to be on Shakeology because I felt like it would help her so much. And my brother-in-law, I wanted to work the business, in which he does not work the business, but my sister does. And another fail forward, I didn't ask my sister because she had a baby and she was pregnant and she was teaching her first year and taking classes in school. So I was like, there's no way she would do this with me. I talked to my brother-in-law. I'm like, you'd be so great at this. You're going to love it. And he's like, I don't think so. He's still not great at it. She's one of my star diamonds and she's fabulous. And she was honestly insulted that I didn't ask her. So lesson learned, ask everybody, because you could be hurting their feelings by not asking. So that's, is that even my backstory? That's kind of my story. The most important things that happened to me early on.
Yeah. I think that is such an awesome point too, because like so many people prejudge, and I definitely was guilty of that in the beginning. Like I, for instance, have signed up, two of my cousins at this point. And then I don't even know what she is to me. She's my aunt's, my aunt's sister. So I don't know what that makes her. But anyways, there are people that like I never would have reached out to because I was like, oh, like their family, or, oh, they're doing this. And then eventually they reached out to me and I was like, well, that was silly of me, like to just assume that they didn't want to do this. And when you look at all the different backgrounds of everybody in this business, you can't prejudge. You can't say like, oh, she's a lawyer or he's a doctor or whatever. And so they won't want to do something like this. So awesome. All right. I'm going to jump in with, let's see here. We have a question that says, my question would be, when you have a bad month, how do you keep your momentum going? Like, what do you do anything differently? Do you offer incentives? Do you post differently? So if you're having a tough month, how do you get through that? And, I didn't mention this at the beginning of the call, guys, but Erin is a Success Club 10 legend, and, she doesn't miss Success Club. So that's actually a great question for you.
Yeah, no, I love that question. And I get to talk about one of my favorite things in the world right now that has not only changed my business, but changed my personal development feelings of this business. So every time that I get a message from somebody that says, oh my gosh, I'm down 10 pounds, or oh, my blood pressure came back and these are the numbers, or I'm feeling so great I was able to jog a mile and I never thought I'd be able to do that, or I just made my first paycheck and I paid for my son's hockey and my husband was so psyched. I am a total creep, but I screenshot every single message like that. And then in my phone, I have in albums, and just call it screenshots because I don't want to, it's personal to me and I would never share it with anyone because these are private messages. But on months that are tough, and there certainly are months that are tough, unfortunately, I will scroll through those and literally read every single one of them and remind myself why I'm doing this, because it is so cool to see how many lives are changed. Because I think it's a mindset. When I'm struggling, if you guys haven't read The Secret, that's the book that I've read more than any book in the entire world. I will listen to that on repeat and just listen because I 100% believe in it. And you will find that if you're like, oh, this month is so tough, as like hocus pocus or corny or dorky or whatever you think that sounds like, you're putting that out into the universe saying, oh, it's a tough month. Bring me a tough month. Make it hard for me. I'm going to struggle. So I try to never think like that. I try to think of like all the positives that have happened, and I keep going through that. And you guys might look at me and think I'm a total wacko by saying all that now, but it's so true. And having those to look back on does help me remember why I'm doing this and what I'm actually going for. So yes, I'm going for Success Club, but that's just because my main goal is to add 3 more stories into that album, 3 more people, not just to sign them up and get those Success Club points. That's not my goal. Yes, it's 3 more that month, at least 3. But my goal is to get that message from them, for them to tell me how much this has changed their life, because I really do believe that it will, but it's my objective to help get them there. So that's been a huge thing for me. And of course, like drowning myself in personal development. The Magic of Thinking Big is a huge book that I listen to a lot. The Secret, of course, like I said, You Are a Badass I'll put on, because a lot of times if I'm struggling, it's because of my own like things I'm saying to myself. And I'll watch my language. And I tell my friends too, like, call me out if I'm like, oh, this is a tough month, or wham, I'm struggling. I'm like, tell me, call me out, because I might not even notice. I might just be in that mindset, and it's a grumpy mindset. And I have so much less fun those months. I love this business, and it's so fun, and it's so cool to be able to help people. But when my mindset turns that way, it's not as fun. So I tell my friends, I'm like, remind me that is not fun. Those are some of the things I do. Obviously, personal development is just like the number one thing that can get me out of that. But did I miss parts of the question?
No, I think that's perfect. And honestly, like, yeah, I mean, when we focus on lack, we create more lack. And you're not sounding crazy. This whole team is a bunch of spirit junkie, crazy people.
Okay.
You're actually, speaking our language, but, it's really true. You just create whatever you focus on grows, right? So like you're creating more of that crap and telling yourself that stupid lie that this is hard and you can't do this. So what else? I think that, let's see here. How do you balance a full-time job that can be intense with Beachbody without running on fumes? So maybe speaking, I don't know if you were working full-time when you started.
I was, yeah, definitely.
Got kiddos, so.
I do, and I might not have the best answer, but I'm just going to be real. Like I said, when I came into this, I totally saw the vision. I saw the opportunity. I saw what this could do. And I knew that this could change my life, my husband's life, my kids' lives. My children are 16 and 6. So as you guys see me sitting here, I look pretty confident, right? I'm like, yeah, I like being on this team call. It's fun. I love Joan. I want to hang out. I'm talking in front of all you, and I'm okay. But let me tell you, I had my daughter when I was a senior in high school. I was 17 years old. And because of that, my confidence was like 0, nothing. I thought everyone was judging me. I felt like everybody just looked at me like, oh, you're the girl who had the baby in high school. And I was so terrified of being judged that my lack of confidence was just nothing. So I've learned a lot from this right now, and I forget now where I was going. Oh, my time. So my children are 16 and 6, so they're my world. And all I wanted was to make sure that I was a good mother and that nobody ever looked at me and was like, oh, she's a terrible mother. That's why she had a baby. Teen pregnancy's bad thing. You know what I mean? I wanted to kind of not get rid of that stigma, because I'm not condoning it, but I wanted to make it better. I wanted to be a better mother. So that was kind of my focus. And I was in a job that I hated because it was 9 to 2 so that I could get my daughter off the bus. And then I had my son. So I made sure that my job was based around my kids' lives. And then I was in school. And then I was also nannying for my sister. I was babysitting for my sister. I nannied before that. I've done a lot of jobs here and there just to make it work, but I was never happy. So I knew the vision of this, like this was something that I could be happy, that I could be home. My daughter is 16 now. She's a junior in high school, and it is totally insane because I'm not even old enough for that. It's so crazy. But now I'm home all the time. So when she has her boy troubles and when she has whatever, like I'm there. And I knew this opportunity was the only thing that would make this happen for me. So I always knew that. So that being said, I loved this business. And whenever I had a second, I would run to the bathroom and be like, message people back. And I just kind of snuck it in whenever I could. I stayed up later than I normally did. I'm not going to lie, I did not get up earlier because I'm not an early person. But I stayed up later because that's what worked for me. If you can get up earlier, definitely do that. I admire you and I think it's great. But for me, I stayed up and I added on a little bit of extra time in my night, because for me it was worth it. And I saw the vision of that. So even if I was at the computer at night with one eye open, like, all right, I was so determined to make this work. I guess you could say like my why was strong enough. So my days were, I would voice message people when I'm driving. I think that's legal, right? Because I'm not texting. I just use my voice messenger, message, listen to my personal development in the car. When I'm cooking, they say, what is it? When you're doing something mindless, pair it with something mindful. So even when I get my nails done, I have my one earbud in because it's totally not rude because you can still hear. So it's not like you're ignoring the person. But I always say like, oh, I have to do a little schoolwork. So then they're not insulted. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to music because I want to talk to you. But that's my personal development. So sneaking in ways that I could do it. Like if I was to cook, I would be doing it, or cleaning, put my earbuds in and go, and just try to sneak it in whenever I could. In the beginning, I'm not going to lie and say, I had this great schedule. I was so balanced and blah, blah, blah. I did what I could to make this work. And mostly I think I stayed up a little bit later to make it work. And I slept when I could. I'm not saying I stayed up till 3 a.m., but I wanted this so badly. And if you guys want it so bad, you have to put in the extra time in the beginning. And there's no way to sugarcoat it. You can do this and be super structured and do your power hour. And if you have a power hour and like really laser focused power hour, you can absolutely make this work. But at the time when I started out, I was so excited for anyone to message me back. And I think I was just like full of energy about all of this that when I got messages, I'm like, oh yeah, hey. And I wanted to get right back to them. So depending on the structure of your day, if you have a job where you can't do that, you can make it really structured. Like before you go to work, I'm going to message 3 people. On my lunch break, I'm going to follow up with 3 people. And then at night, I'm going to do the things that I need to do. Do you know what I mean? But to think like, that you're going to be like, basically what I think I would love to say is don't get mad at yourself, whatever you're doing right now. Don't fizzle out. And if you're like stressed, then you're not doing it right. But if you love this enough, you can balance. I listen to personal development with my kids in the car. Certainly not the ones who swear, but there's a lot of great books. Like my daughter has read The Go-Giver, and I think it's helped her so much. So incorporating what we do into my kids' life. I work out in front of my kids and they love it too. So how great is that? It's like a win-win. So things like that you can combine your life. Everything we do is so positive and happy that you can combine it with having kids, or at work, you can kind of blend it all together and make it work.
You know, and I love that that's actually your answer, because for me, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I started the same exact time, October 2013, went Emerald that month, went Diamond by, I think, December of 2013, and then went, you know, 6-star Elite in 2014. But my story is no different than Erin's. Like, we both achieved like the same thing, and we did the same thing. And so I love that, because it's like, you don't have to be special. There's no secret sauce. You don't have to like have all these crazy things figured out. It legitimately was that. I stayed up later. I sacrificed TV time. I multitasked and listened to PD while I was working out, while I was driving in the car, while I was sitting at my desk during the day working my job. I would have an ear, like just like she said, one earbud in, so I could still hear if anybody started talking to me or anything like that. And really made that work for me, my lunch breaks. And luckily I was in a position where I was at a computer, so I would just sneak it in during the day. Like, I was bored writing emails or doing something. I was like, all right, I'm going to message 5 people real quick over here. Okay, back to over here. Oh, did Messenger pop up? You know, like, that was just how I ran my day. And it was sacrifice, yes, but it was worth it for me, because I was able to leave my job in 6 months, you know? So I think that if anybody looks at you and tells you like, you know, your life should be about balance in the beginning, I think it's bullshit. I think they're lying to you, because the only way you get anywhere in this business is by being off balance for a little bit. And then all of a sudden you get all of this time back to the point where you're like, oh, you know, what did I do all day? Like, probably should have put my power hour in there somewhere, but I don't know what I've been doing. So it turns into one of those things where you have so much free time. One of the things I was going to ask you based on what you just said is, okay, so I wanted to talk to you about balance and all of that, but spouse. So was Joe on board right away, or was he not?
When I told him I was going to do this, so I went, like I said, I went to watch a business opportunity, and he's like, don't buy anything. And I came home and I'm like, I signed up to be a coach. And he's like, Erin, there is no way you can sell something, anyone, anything. Like, you're going to cry the second someone says no, because that means they don't like you and you're so sensitive and I'm going to be picking you up off the floor. Like, you cannot sell to anyone. And for some reason, I just knew, I'm like, I'm not going to sell anything. Like, I'm going to love this. I'm going to share what I'm doing. I'm going to help people. And I saw a completely different thing. So he was definitely nervous when I started, but he's like, all right, do your thing. Like, I was just way too psyched for him to like rain on my parade. But he did not start drinking Shakeology until we were actually in Florida, like 5 months later. And I made him a shake every day because we were together for the week. And he was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a single cup of coffee because I was living off the energy in this thing that you sell. I'm like, I don't sell. But it was still like, it took him 5 months. I couldn't even have my own husband do it. But I was excited to build the business, and he was my hardest sell. But he was on board. And then since then, he's on board. He doesn't work the business. I have built his account. He's supportive. He comes home and he's like, all right, you need to go to your office. But I heard a lot of people on my team, their husbands are not on board right away until they get that paycheck. So it kind of fuels them to get that paycheck. And I tell the story all the time of coaches on our team who let us share, like, when their husband does come on board, how exciting it is. Because like I said, one of my coaches was like, oh my gosh, we just paid for Matt's entire hockey season with my paycheck. And my husband's like, all right, I'm in, let's do this. How can I help you? And it's a hard thing to kind of wrap your mind around. And a lot of husbands might be skeptical. Of course, it's different. It's not the normal 9-to-5 job sitting at a desk. So it is hard for husbands to understand that. But once they see something tangible with it, or once you show them a message like, oh my gosh, their blood pressure is down 20 points. How incredible. I helped them do this. That's going to help. So just keep sharing with your spouse and let them know like what you're doing is real. And if it takes time, it takes time. Don't be upset because it will come around. Like I said, I think it took Joe about 5 months. And now he walks in the door like, how can I help you? What do you need today? And I'm like, I've been home all day working, but yeah, you want to do this? Because I love it.
Yeah. You know, Ryan signed up as a coach before me. So, I mean, that was in April of 2013. And I didn't start building the business until October of 2013. So how many months is that? Like 6 months. Yeah, like 6 months. And so the only reason I even signed up anyways was because he made me sign up as a coach in order to get Insanity instead of just buying it as a customer from him. And so like the thing that changed my mind was my results. Like it was my results, but it was also everybody else noticing my results, noticing my mindset, noticing the changes in me, made me realize that I could help somebody else feel that way. So that was like my big change. So it doesn't, whether it's your spouse, gets on board with just working out with you or drinking Shakeology and that changes their mind, or it could be sharing those paychecks, or it could be sharing exactly what you said, like the wins when somebody writes something to you, or just purely sitting down with them and expressing to them like what your why is, where you see yourself going in this business, why you're doing it. Because I think a lot of times too, like a spouse will feel left out, or your significant other will feel left out. They feel like you're changing, you're growing, you're doing something different, you're doing it without them, and that's threatening in a way. And so including them as much as possible, I think is really key. And then, using your time wisely. Like when we say sacrifice your time, I mean like sacrifice some sleep, sacrifice some TV hours and things that you used to do that were just a waste of time, and multitask like we were saying before, so you're making the most of other things. But things like spending time with your spouse or spending time with your family, those aren't really things that I think that you should sacrifice, but I do think that you should reorganize and make them more quality time. So like instead of sitting in front of the TV playing video games or sitting in front of the TV like watching TV, you know, say we have an hour when you get home, we can work out together, or we can eat dinner together, or we can sit for 30 minutes and talk, but like as soon as that TV comes on, I'm opening up my computer, you know, or things of that nature. Because, you know, I think that it's so easy to get caught up in, well, they're not supportive right now, so I don't want to do this because I'm fearful of what they might think or that they'll get mad. And honestly, I was that person. I was the person in the living room while Ryan was in the other room on the Zoom call with Chris or the team call or whatever going, why are you in there at 9:30 at night? Like, come out here with me. Like, we're supposed to be spending time together. I don't see you ever. And meanwhile, I had some stupid like reality TV show on, you know, and I wanted him to come sit on the couch and watch it with me. But like, as soon as I started realizing that, you know, well, whatever he was doing actually changed my life because I took part in the programs and realized it changed my life. But that, you know, what he wanted, like he sat down and explained it to me, like what he wanted was to build freedom for us and to, you know, build income for us so that we could do the things that we wanted and have the lifestyle we wanted and help other people and do all that sort of thing. At that point, at least, even though I hadn't signed up yet, I was okay with him being on, you know, the computer or whatever, as long as I could just do whatever I wanted to do and not be forced to do it with him. So those are just some key points too, I think that might help.
I love how you said to share what you're doing and to make them feel. That was definitely something that Joe struggled with too, about not feeling included and kind of making him. So he does do Body Beast and he loves it, and now he drinks Shakeology. But another great thing that's worked for us is I signed him up for the Darren Dailies. I don't know if you guys do that, but Darren Hardy has a Darren Daily. And does your team, do you guys do that?
No, but Patrick Rauman mentioned it in the men's training section that he actually
I love it
in his challenge groups. And yeah,
it's so great. And that's something that Joe and my husband connect on, because I'm like, oh, did you hear the Darren Daily thing? He's like, yeah, I did. It was so great. I was talking about this. And we have that connection over personal development, because I do feel, like I said, I have changed. I'm more confident. I love life now. I'm not as fearful of people judging me. I've like come out of my shell, and like literally Beachbody has kind of made me find myself, as dorky as it sounds. But he watched that happen, and he was kind of stagnant because he's still an estimator. I mean, he does great at his job, but he wasn't going through all this like craziness as I was. So I'm like, oh, you should do the Darren Daily. And now we talk about it, and having that, if you can convince your spouse to do that, it sounds like a small thing, but connecting on that level in the Darren Dailies are so great. You'll learn something every day, and to talk about that, like what you learned, was a great connecting tool for us.
I think something you mentioned just there, Erin, is so important, and not just with spouses and not just with people that you're prospecting and conversations and everything, but connecting on common ground, finding that one thing that you can connect with that other person where it's neutral, and you can have that conversation where there's a give and take, and that person's interested in talking about it, you're interested in asking questions, and it kind of breaks down a lot of those barriers.
Okay, so I have a couple more questions here that I wanted to get through, but I'm going to ask this one first because I think it relates to these two. So how do you recruit building coaches, people who want to build this business with you, not just be a discount coach or hang out in a challenge group?
Yeah, so definitely that's the best question. That's the $1 million question, right? Because everybody, that's the way to build your business. You can sign discount coaches till the cows come home? Does that make me sound like I'm 80? You can sign discount coaches all day long, and it's not going to grow your business. So something I do is I literally do prospect my friends who I think would be great at this business. I will sign people like from groups or certain things that I see who are active on Facebook, and I prospect in a way that I think you would be so great at this business. But honestly, from what I learned when I started out, I don't necessarily, we have our business op, and a lot of times I do the business op for discount coaches, because I found that, like myself, a lot of people don't believe in themselves. They don't think they can be this big crazy entrepreneur and build their $1 million business and work from home, and they don't see that as a reality for them because people are so full of doubt and they're fearful of change. So what I found was that I will talk to people who I do believe will be great at this business, but I will introduce them to Shakeology and the challenge groups, and I will get them in as a discount coach. And when I'm talking to them, I tell them, you can sign up as a discount coach because you will get a discount. And Beachbody does it this way because people get such great results with these programs that as you're signed up as a discount coach, people are going to start asking you about it. And you can naturally tell them what you're doing. You can make a commission and bring them in. You don't necessarily have to build a big crazy business. It's all up to you on what you want to do. There's no contract, there's no fee, there's no quotas or anything like that. It's literally just cheaper. So that's the first time that I plant the seed, but I make sure that they know it's a no pressure thing. But I always want to mention that it is an option for you to build a business, but I don't want to put too much pressure on them that it scares them away, because I'm not going to lie. I've literally tried to go after people like, hey, you would be so great at this business. And they're like, and I've had people tell me, like, I'm so scared I would let you down. I'm so afraid that I would fail. Like, I really can't do it. I'm like, no, just try the Shakeology. And they're like, no, like, and then I've already put it in their head as doubtful. People who are confident, people who are super active on Facebook, absolutely. But people who might take a little bit of personal development to kind of push, but you see it in them. I always get them in that way and how I could help them with the challenge pack. And then I will invite them to our business opportunity. I will share with them what I'm doing. So my friends, 2 of my Star Diamonds, who are my best friends, they said no to me a gazillion trillion times, honestly. But I just kept sharing with them, okay, today this happened. This was so great. Okay, this is happening. This is what the company's offering. And I just made it like, this is about me. I'm sharing my life just like we would share our lives because we're best friends. It's not anything different. And they started watching the changes. So then both of them actually said, all right, I'm going to just try Shakeology, and pretended like that was what they were doing. One of them was Emerald the next day, but she's like, I'm just going to try the Shakeology, as in I'm not committing to anything. I'm not building this business, but I knew that was like her core motive originally, like even when she signed up. So I talked to everybody about it, but I kind of try to make it seem like it's their idea. And honestly, with the challengers, I try to have them get great results. Just like Joan said, she didn't get into it until she got her own results. And you're going to find a lot of people are like that. So don't get discouraged if you're trying to bring in everybody for the business, because it might just not work until they have their own results, until they see it. I am a very odd bird that I came in for the business. It's very rare, but I needed some sort of change. In my personality before this, like I get very obsessed. As my daughter was growing, I was getting really into her life and just like, you need a hobby. Oh my God. So I got into couponing, which failed miserably. I was a runner, and then I broke my foot. I got into politics, and then I was driving him crazy with politics. So for me, I know that I needed a hobby. And when I saw this, I'm like, whoa, this would be the coolest hobby ever. It was. But not everybody's like that. Not everybody needs a hobby. And a lot of people don't have time for a hobby, and they don't believe in themselves enough. So I kind of try to now just see how I can help them with the products, and then make sure that they get results, and then encourage them to make one post on Facebook, or encourage them to invite a friend to a challenge group. The next challenge group we're going to do is like a friend-to-friend challenge group. Everyone in this group has to invite a friend to the next challenge group, and that can build their business. Do you know what I mean? And once somebody helps somebody else, they're kind of like in it. Once they've sold a challenge pack to somebody, they feel responsible for that, and they'll almost just grow in that way.
Yeah, I love what you just said there with posting, like making them invite or post to Facebook. That's something that I've recently started doing in some of my challenge groups, was having them post to Facebook, like something about their workout or whatever. And if they did, then they win a prize or whatever. But then it's like, you can go to each one of them individually and be like, hey, like, you post that. Did you see how many people just like that? Like, if you wanted to help them and get them in the group, and then they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, and you're already set up as a coach, so this works perfectly. And then the other thing that I've been doing is starting to include personal development in my challenge group. So I'll recommend books, or I'll start talking about, personal development and what I'm reading, or I'll start talking about mindset, or I'll start talking about like healthy self-talk and things of that nature, to get them already in that process, so that by the time we end, they've been not just working on their body, but their brain too. So that seems to have been going really well. And so those are 2 things that I can just point out. All right. 2 more questions for you.
Can I share one quick? I promise I'll keep this super quick. I know I can ramble on, but a huge thing that changed my entire business with getting people to work the business was the color code. If you guys don't, or gems, you can do whichever you want. For me, the color code hit home. I read the whole book about it, but I was only able to talk to people and the people who were blue. I'm a blue, so if somebody was a blue, I could get them and I could encourage them to work the business. But people aren't all like me. People talk different ways. People have different core motives. Some people are intrigued by different things. And once you understand that, you can end up relating to so many more people. It's like expanding your network, expanding your like love market on how you can care for people. So if you don't do something like that and you don't understand the color code or gems, it will change your business once you can see what people are motivated by and kind of categorize people like, all right, this person doesn't want to be the spotlight. They kind of want to just be helpful, or whichever like way you can. Once you do it, you'll see it. I don't want to take too much time on it, but it was a business changer for me, 100%.
Totally. All right. I'm a Ruby, but my second one is the fun one. What is like when I'm on the color code,
the gems, so I do color code, yeah.
When I'm on the color code, I'm red and yellow like almost equally. But like when
I'm blue and yellow. Yellow is the fun one.
But I attract like a bunch of blues, so I don't know what my deal is. Anyway. So, okay, you built your business really quickly. You hit Success Club consistently. You said that in the beginning, you found those hidden moments and you found those times to multitask and do that sort of thing. What does your day look like now? Are you still doing the behaviors that you did then? Now, what's different, if anything, and what are your tips on that, I guess?
Fortunately now I work from home. So when I wake up, I do personal development before I look at any messages, because you never know what's going to be in there. And I just get my mindset in the right place.
I call it Facebook Messenger PTSD.
like, don't look.
I don't want to look right now.
All on your screen. I'm like, you're not getting into my head just yet. I need to. It's difficult. So that's what I do right away. And then I jump out of bed. I get my son ready for school. My daughter's already gone. I don't wake up with her in the morning because we'll just argue. And I don't wish, if any of you have a teenager, you know that wasn't even mean. It was just what it is. She's gone. I get my son on the bus and then I get back and then I will go through my messages. Then I'll check into my challenge groups, get my workout in. Like my day is super laid back now. I certainly do things for myself. I schedule my one-on-ones. I do require that my one-on-ones send me their bat because I found that I was drowning in one-on-one calls and I was talking to people who weren't hitting Success Club. And not that, I mean, people need help to hit Success Club. That's not, I won't not talk to people, but they do have to show that they are putting an effort in during the week.
Let me interrupt you 1 second. Just for anybody who doesn't know what a BAT is, it's your business activity tracker. You can download it from the back office. You can have them fill out that, or like that power hour tracker that we do. You can have them do that, or anything just to kind of show you that they're actually working their business before you talk to them.
Yeah, and some people I use PlannerPad. PlannerPad.com has been like a game changer for my life. The way that it's set up is so amazing. I'm able to track everything. I like pen and paper, so PlannerPad is what I use. And a lot of my coaches use that. So instead of the BAT, I will have them just send me a picture of their PlannerPad so I know that they actually consistently were doing something each day and not just, hey, what's up again? And I was losing a lot of time there. So I have my one-on-ones and I just check in. I have a list in my PlannerPad on which groups to check into. My challenge group, my Coach Basics, my Run to Diamond, my team page posts. I'll plan out my posts. And then my son gets off the bus at 3:30. My daughter's home at 2. I check in with them. I make sure that my son does a lot of activities because I basically have 2 only children. They're 10 years apart. So I drive him to his sport or whatever he's doing for the day. And we hang out, play basketball. I take some time for him in the afternoon because I earned that time. And I'm also now promoting this business as freedom of time. Like you can have this job and have freedom of time. You can have financial freedom. And if I'm not living that, then I certainly can't promote it. And I want everybody to know, and I never want to feel like a fraud in saying that. So I make sure that I have my time each day with my kids so that I know I have my time. This is like the life that I wanted, because now I'm 2.5 years in. So it's different now. In the beginning, yeah, I definitely missed some time with them. And I was like, Joe, help, can you put him to bed? I got a call. And it was craziness, but I still do my calls. I have calls actually right now. We have calls Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for a Coach Basics, Run to Diamond, our team call. And my schedule is a little off, but I would never, I think I've missed 1 call because those are just like Success Club, that's my non-negotiable. I want to be there because these are like all of you guys that made the effort to be on here. Like, you're the ones who will build your business because you're taking the time out right now. Even though, I mean, I think The Bachelorette just started, and that's a really good show, and I don't even watch it anymore. And giving up stuff like that is what gives me.
I'm cracking up.
You guys think it's the worst show ever? I love it.
No, Erin, there's something called, what is it, Hulu?
Hulu.
Yeah. So you're talking about freedom of time. When the Bachelor series is on, Joan watches that on Hulu once a week. And it may be at night. Like, usually, like I told myself the first year of building this, I could watch TV if it was after midnight and if I wanted to, and so if like I was going to give up some sleep to do so. So the first year of this business, like that's what I did. I gave up TV and I spent longer hours. But you know what? Then we started watching freaking, what was it? Dexter. We started watching Dexter, and I was like a crack addict for Dexter. So I would end up staying up until like 3 a.m. watching Dexter, and then like go to bed and do it all the next day. Like, I swear to God, I got like massive wrinkles my first year of coaching because of Dexter.
I stayed up till 3 too, and I get up at 6:30. So I lost some sleep.
But I'm glad you said that too. Being on this call, and I know we're preaching to the choir on this one, but you guys, I have never missed a team call, not once. I remember we were down in Florida for my mom's boyfriend's funeral, and I jumped on the team call. I was in Hawaii on vacation with my friend Bianca, and I jumped on the team call.
We flew down to New York City for Global Fest and went to a Super Saturday, Saturday morning, did a workout, and then went.
But you know, it's the end of a holiday weekend. And you know what most people are doing? They're sitting there grumbling and crabbing about the fact that they have to go to work tomorrow. And I wish I could just have vacation all the time. And I wish I didn't have to work. And this sucks. And like, now I've got to get the kids all ready for school tomorrow and yada, 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 whatever it might be. And you know what? Like I'm going to have this awesome team call where I get to pump these people up to start working their business and working towards their dreams. And then tomorrow I'll wake up when I want to, no alarm, and I'll do what I want to with my time. And that's what you guys have. But you know what? You don't get that by skipping team calls, and you don't get that by I know we're running a little bit over, but it's 30 minutes of your time at the end of a holiday weekend. Like,
all of my successful coaches are always on the call. Mm-hmm. The ones who aren't building, I don't see them. And it's not a coincidence. All of my successful coaches make the call every week without fail. And if they don't, they're like, oh my gosh, like I have a funeral or I have this. And they message me as if I take attendance or something. I'm like, I would know like my top leaders, but I don't look who's on, whoever's on, or I'm going to know who's on because I'm going to see their business growing. And it really is so crucial.
It is crucial. So,
awesome for you guys.
100%. All right. Last question. Oh, unless there's one of those. All right. Last question. What's the one thing you wish you would have known about or known as a beginning coach or given advice as when you were starting? What was that one piece of advice that you wish you had, or that tip or whatever that you wish you knew in the beginning?
I think I wish that I would have educated myself more on like objections and on what a no means, and not to be so emotionally attached to that, because it definitely ruined me sometimes. I would have people who would maybe have to lose 20 pounds or something, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, she's going to love this. And then she's like, no, I can't. And I would lose a lot of tears over stuff like that because I felt terrible that I didn't do a good enough job explaining what we have and how this could help them. So for me, I learned so much. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the objections video by Tommy Migrant and somebody at Summit, the Summit presentation.
Who was?
You know who that was?
I don't remember, but
we
can find it for them.
Somebody, yeah.
It was so good, and it just talked about just the emotional part of your brain and really being able to help. That video changed everything for me, and I wish I watched that sooner in my business. I also wish that I knew that goals and plans were different. Every Sunday, I'm not a very consistent person. I'm consistent with Success Club. I'm consistent, but I'm also a procrastinator. But something I'm very consistent with is every Sunday. Oh, Joan, we're the same person, I know. Every Sunday, I love writing down my goals. And because I did that, I thought that was going to like make them happen. And I didn't realize that I needed a plan to go along with those goals, because having goals and having a plan is entirely different. So once I started setting up my month as to, all right, this week I'm going to do a free clean eating group. This week is when I'm going to start my challenge group. This is when I'm going to invite. Once I started making a plan of my month, it was so much more effective by having my goals and then aligning them with my plan. So that was huge. And of course, like I said, when I started the business, I talked to everybody about the business, and I really learned that way on just how to listen to people and knowing that some people aren't ready. My gosh, I can tell you there are times in my life where I just want to eat Swedish fish for the rest of my life. And if somebody comes to me and is like, oh, you should join my clean eating group, I'd be like, if it doesn't involve Swedish fish, see you later. But I'm not going to always be like that, because eventually I'm going to feel like crap. And if they're gone, if they're like, oh, she said no, see you later, what a loser, she said no to me, I'm going to find someone else to help me once I'm ready to kick my Swedish fish addiction. Do you know what I mean? So always stay in touch with those people who say no to you, because they're not going to be in that bad place for the rest of their life. So you have to stay in contact. Any reason that you can think, if you know this could help them and they say no, make sure you have other reasons to reach out to them. That's why when you're talking to them, really dig into what their why could be, or something about their life that you guys can connect on, so that you can always go back to them, because they will be ready. You will feel like crap if you eat Swedish fish for more than a week, like straight. It's disgusting. But they're going to come to you when they're ready, if you're still there. And if you're not there, like I got so emotionally attached to the outcome of some of these people that I'd be like, I can't even talk to them, so embarrassed, said no. And then I would just kind of leave it. And then I learned that I needed to go back sooner. So that was huge. And also, oh, last thing. I know you're over time and I'm still rambling on, but this was like a huge thing for me, is to change my mindset on what sales is. Now I know that when I sell a challenge pack and I'm talking to somebody and hoping that they sign up, I know in my mind that, yes, I'm definitely going to make at least $40 commission. I'm going to make 2 Success Club points. I'm going to grow my team. Hopefully they'll be a business builder. It's going to be a great thing. And I know all of this going into me talking to them. But my mindset is more focused on, they are getting from me way the heck more than any of that even means. 2 Success Club points means nothing compared to what might happen to their life. So I remember someone's like, do you say thank you when someone orders a challenge pack? I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm like, I say you're welcome. You are so welcome that I probably just changed your entire life. Like, yep, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Like, it is so much more about them and what they're getting. And when you really believe that in your mindset, you're going to be able to talk to people so much easier. You're not going to be afraid that you're coming across as selling something, or they're going to say no, or it's a big scary thing because you're trying to sell them a challenge pack. When you know in your mind, like 100%, and I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, we're going to help them more. Like, you have to 100% believe that you're helping them more. And once you know that, you'll have so much more confidence talking to people. You won't be scared of rejection. You won't be scared of sales. You'll just know that what you're doing is the right thing. And you'll notice it'll start to happen. It's like when a dog can sense fear. If you guys are fearful about being salesy, or fearful about having them say no, or fearful about what might happen, it's almost like not that they're dogs, but they might be able to sense it. And you have to be so confident that what you're doing is the right thing. And if you know one person whose life has changed from Shakeology, I mean, you know me, so there you go. You know Joan, you know Ryan, like, you guys already have those success stories. Even if you've never signed a coach, you know what this can do for someone. So you have to have that confidence that you're going to change somebody's life. So those were my my bunch of things I wish I knew, I guess, because I wish I knew so much. But now it's so cool, and just don't quit. It's so cool.
It is. Candy, I see that you asked that question about how do you get people to interact with your posts in your challenge group. And I'm just going to say, listen to the National Wake Up Call that happened, what was it? Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? That will answer your question on that, because that's kind of a detailed question. And then the other thing I just wanted to hit on with what Erin said, though, is, you know, she's talking about following up, right? Like, never giving up on that person that said no. At the beginning of every single month, you guys, you should always be writing down every single flipping person that you've ever talked to, regardless of their answer. You should be writing them down for that following month, because I was a no. You know, many of you here were a no
Erin
at first.
Conlon was a Swedish fish addictor.
You know, like
100 times.
Many people on this call were no, 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 and then finally a yes. And so you have to remember that, like, that you are there to help them in their time when they are ready. And so I think a great tip that I think, like, Bonnie Engel gave, is that when you're, most of the time, if you get the no, it's probably more towards like the end of the conversation, right? So you've already talked to them about their goals, about their struggles, about what they want to achieve, about like maybe they have a Swedish fish addiction, or maybe they're like, I can't stop eating freaking sweets. Like I just can't help it, you know, or I love pizza and I can't stop eating pizza, or whatever it might be. But if they say no, not right now, or I can't because I don't have the money, or yada, 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 then you can always like, first of all, thank them for trusting you with all that information that they just gave to you about their personal struggles in their life. Second of all, ask them if it's okay if you follow up with them again before your next challenge group starts, because most people will be like, yeah, because again, they might be out of their Swedish fish phase by then. And then, you know, and then I think finally, what?
I don't, it's funny.
So they never come off your list, give them, and then the next thing you can do is send them little tips. Mm-hmm. So like if you come off like, if you go and you find a recipe that's for like, maybe it's for cauliflower pizza crust, and you're like, I tried this and it's amazing. And I know you said you're totally addicted to pizza, but try this, you know, like you're sending them information, showing them that you're going to help them for free no matter what. So you have them on that list. You put the little notes right next to their name. You are going to move them to the next month. You know, all of that stuff. So you can just kind of, you know, do that in the interim before the next month. And then you're building that trust with that person, and you're building that relationship with that person, and you're the first freaking person they're going to go to when they are ready. And then I think finally what I would say about that is just that, you know, I lost it because I thought you were going to say something.
You can go ahead. Did you lose it?
I don't know what I was going to say.
I was just going to add in that any objection that you get, that Erin's talked about, that Joan's talked about, that you know you've gotten in the past, whatever your answer is to that person as to what you were going to do, what you were going to say, use that, turn it into a post on Facebook, because you never know how many other people that are watching you are asking that same question or had that same objection in their head about time, about money, about Shakeology, about eating food, about the workouts, whatever it is. Turn that into a post and just post it constantly on Facebook.
I remember what I was going to say. The other way that you can help them for free, you know, if they're saying it's a money thing in the interim or whatever, is Beachbody On Demand. I mean, you have the challenge du jour. You can create a group that's constantly running with challenge du jour people, 30 days. You still are getting them results. They're still getting access to Beachbody programs. They're still having you as their coach. And in the end, you can be like, look, I gave you all this free information, this awesome group with all these amazing recipes. You're feeling awesome. Like, are you ready to move forward with more? And so I think that those are great ways to do that. But like, yes, what she was saying, always follow up. That's never a no. It's just where they are at that time. And so, and I love
it. Just calls it the Netflix of workouts. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's genius because people love Netflix and they're like, oh, I want Netflix of working out.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, doesn't the guy that used to run Hulu?
Yeah, he used to do the Hulu workouts, and now we have him. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this, Erin. I know you guys all love her as much as I love her because she's fun and cute and smart and super successful and confident and loves Swedish fish.
I hear that word. Oh, Swedish fish, come on.
But yeah, I think that was, did I miss anything? I think that those were all the ones that I wanted.
I was just going to mention that I posted the link to the objections, and it was Tommy Migrant and Michael Ryan that did.
Yes. Sorry, Michael Ryan.
No, that's okay. They did a dual presentation at one of the summits or leadership sometime. So I posted it in the Diamond Leaders. And if you want, I can post it in the team page. And I can send you the link too, Erin.
Oh, I feel bad that I didn't ask this one question Meg Lyon had. When you have folks that are interested in that are coaching and they want to take a step back, how do you make them realize their why, and how do you help, you know, those coaches get those first wins to keep them going?
That's such a heartbreaker. Yeah. That is really hard. You also have to allow it if they need a month or two and make sure that you're their friend. I mean, as crazy as this is, you're not their boss. So you can't make them do something, but you are their friend because we all develop relationships. So make sure if they're struggling or whatever they're going through, like really truly understand what they're going through, and you can get them back. They loved it in the beginning, and whatever their struggle is, just help them. Maybe it's objections. Maybe that's all they need is a video like that. I've had it happen. There's also people who just aren't in the right mindset. I certainly suggest personal development. You can read personal development, but it cannot be for what you're struggling with. So make sure they're reading something that works for them, that is where their struggle actually is, and basically being their friend. I feel like it happens to the best of us for sure, and everybody struggles, but you can certainly get them back by staying consistently there with them and not being frustrated that they're there. Like, we're all human people. So just remembering that. And when I do my Getting Started Right call, I make sure that I know, like, if you, like, why, of course, finding out their why, their business why too. I do a Getting Started Right for a challenger, like a discount coach. And then for once they're interested in the business, I'll also do one then to really find out what makes them interested in this business and what is their fear and what happens if they start to fall off track. How can I help them? Like, what are you responsive to? Like, almost like, what is your love language? I don't know if you guys, I'm such a nerd with all these little things, but finding out there, like, what do they need? Do they need positive affirmation? Do they need, like, reminders of how they're helping people? And really get to know what they are and what their motive is. So once you understand them, you'll be able to better direct them. But if you're just talking to some person who you don't really know, they might fall off the deep end because you don't have that relationship. So I think, as we say, like, building relationships is so key. It's like, it's more than so key. Whatever the phrase would be above so key, it's the most important piece of this is really actually liking people. And
remember what Erin said in the beginning about The Secret too. I would remind them of that. If their biggest worry is that they're not going to be successful in this business, by putting their business on hold, they are actually making that happen. You know, like inaction breeds fear. And so you literally are creating more of a fearful mindset and you're hurting yourself even more. You know, like, for instance, if you have a spouse, for instance, that's like, I don't know, I don't see the money coming in, I don't think you can do this, and then you stop working on it because they're frustrated with you, and then you're not working the business, well, the money's never going to come, right? So, like, you're creating that. So you need to make sure that you remind them, like, taking a step back is actually the worst freaking thing you can do for your business. So, you know, take those mini steps forward. Use me as your coach. Talk to me. Like, let's find that personal development piece that you need or whatever it might be. But, like, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, okay, so we're not their boss, but sometimes as coaches too, we need to remember that we're not their best friend either. Like, we are their coach. And as a coach, you look at your, you know, soccer player when they're sucking it up on the field and you figure out what the hell's going on in their head. And then you tell them to get back in the game and go for it. Right. So same thing, you know, you're not doing anybody any favors sometimes by sugarcoating it and being like, oh, it's okay, honey. Like, I understand that you've got a lot going on. We all have a lot going on, but you told me you want this. And I am telling you, you need to do X, Y, and Z to get there. So what's really holding you back from that? Or did that somehow change and you don't want that anymore?
Because if you're worried about them liking you, not giving them the advice that's going to push them forward is not going to make them like you, because when they fall and not succeed and stop their business and all that stuff, they would like you more if you told them right up front and said, this is what you need to be doing based on what you've told me is what you're struggling with, so they can push forward and then succeed. They're going to like and respect you a lot more if you help them be successful.
And I think too, just like sometimes that slight tweak when you tell somebody like, okay, instead of saying like, I don't have time to do this, like change it to like, it is not a priority for me to be home with my family, or it is not a priority for me to be able to get out of debt, or it is not a priority for me to leave my job, or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, like that sucks saying that to myself. That's not actually what I want. So I'm going to suck it up and be tired for a few days and make this happen. All right. We are definitely way over time. We've taken so much of your time, Erin, and I apologize for going over. We love you. Thank you so, so, so much.
Thank you, Erin.
I am going to
Tell
go
Joe
ahead.
we said hi.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and post the recording in the team page.
Joe is actually.
He what?
Joe's actually watching. Thank God he's into sports, because whenever like the Red Sox game or whatever is on, I don't even know what the sports is, but it's perfect. Like, as long as your spouse has a hobby for themselves, then you can have your hobby, which is good. That's balance. You know, so when he has like a sports game or whatever, I'm like, perfect, see ya. And it works. But it's good. Yeah. I will let him know. He loves you guys so much. And Ryan, you've like opened his eyes. He's mentioned you so many times. Well, Ryan said when Joe goes crazy, he does this. He's like, so you're crazy right now, so I'm going to do this. It's like, perfect. Thank you, Ryan. It's
perfect.
great. So thanks.
Make it work.
It's not crazy. Matt. All right. Hopefully we see you soon.
I love it.
I mean, it'll be like July at least, but hopefully
Definitely.
before that. All right. Bye, everybody. Yeah. Have an awesome week.